started.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Business Bubble Podcast. My name is Sam, and with me is my co-host.
Hi, everyone. This is James, and today we have a guest. Hi,
Yes.
welcome back to the pod.
Welcome back to the pod. That's like an inside joke, but I think we'll explain the joke as as we go on, right? So Abike is going to be joining us on a special section, right? We're having a special section on the pod. But before we invite Abike Ibukun fully, right? We're going to be just catching up. So James, what's up? How have you been? It's been a while since we did our last episode. What's popping? How's Lagos?
Yes.
How's the weather in Lagos?
Yes, it's been a while. It's very sunny here, and I think I've been busy with work like everybody else. It's the beginning of the year, so a lot of plans going into motion.
Yeah.
And trying to make those things happen. What about you?
Yeah, same here, man. I've been, there's this local partners, hit the ground running. So I've literally been running since the 1st of January, right? So work left, right, and center. Just starting the year in a good direction. Yeah, and it's yielding positive result. And luckily for us, I think it's also sunny here in London. So we've been having great weather over the past few days. Today was really, really great weather, right? I almost did not wear my winter jacket out. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about, like just talking about 3 topics. I think the first one is going to be around AI. So we've been talking about AI for the past, since September or thereabout, or even way before that. So we're going to be talking about AI just to give an update on where we're at right now, so our listeners can understand, the new technologies to look out for. It was also part of our prediction. If you haven't listened to our last episode we did prediction for 2024. We're also going to be talking about Rabbits R1. So for those that don't know anything about Rabbit, I'm just going to I won't say anything until we get to that section. And the final section, we have a guest on the pod. I was also a friend of the pod. We're going to be talking about CES. We're going to be like demystifying and also talking about interesting technology from CES. Right? CES is an annual, will I say, exhibition or conference, right? That happened in Las Vegas, where all of the world biggest technology manufacturers or producers are being showcased. So I think iPhone launched at CES, and some other amazing technology has launched at CES since inception. So this year was also really great. Just talk mostly with the infusion, or will I say infusion, or with the enablement of artificial intelligence in hardware, in software, and in different hybrid showcase. So James, do you want to talk about AI? AI first. Let's talk about the mostly talking about the how it has developed since the last time we spoke about this, because the development pace of AI is something that's very interesting to watch. We talk about something last week. This week we're literally talking about anything. So it's very interesting to see new updates coming up every week, literally every day. So people building different use cases and different interesting use cases. So do you have any updates to share around that?
Yeah, so I think artificial intelligence is still capturing people's attention and people's imaginations. And I think right now it has gotten into the imaginations of regulators and policymakers. At the World Economic Forum some weeks ago, the main conversation was artificial intelligence. And it's because it could be bigger than the internet, as interesting as it is. It could be bigger than the internet. It could be bigger than a lot of innovations that we've had in the past. And the regulators, the FTC in the United States, is kind of like capturing. There's currently regulatory capture currently happening, because as we know that it could be bigger than the internet, a lot of regulators are seeing this as big tech shouldn't have a monopoly insight over these things, over this technology. Anthropic, OpenAI, these are like promising techs. Even if we don't know the winners in artificial intelligence right now, we know that Anthropic and OpenAI especially are already taking a large chunk of the market share. And eventually they are building models, they are building chips. OpenAI is raising money to build a chip, the next NVIDIA for AI. And this could accrue into billions of dollars additional market cap for OpenAI. Anthropic is the same thing, it could displace Google in the search space, So these companies could be bigger, these companies could be monopolies on its own, OpenAI and Anthropic. But and this is the thing about why the FTC is inquiring into Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft investment into these technologies. So it's really interesting what is happening. We all know that this could add billions of dollars to um, this could be bigger monopolies themselves. OpenAI and Anthropic, and the involvement of Amazon, the involvement of Google, the involvement of Microsoft to own these companies could mean that they would have control over the biggest monopolies that are going to be created today and tomorrow.
I was going to ask for you to like do a deeper, dive into why FTC is launching this inquiry, right? For those that like are wondering, this is just an inquiry. This is not like an official investigation yet. It's just an inquiry. It means they're asking questions, right? So you want to talk about maybe Microsoft investment in OpenAI. So I think Microsoft owns almost 50% of OpenAI, and most of that investment goes towards server cost, like goes towards enabling them to like be able to build this model and train this model. So we are also saying we also saw a proportionate investment in Anthropic, right? Anthropic owns Mistral. Anthropic literally built Mistral. So Mistral AI, Mistral LNM comes from Anthropic. So, but we've seen investment even from competing companies like Alphabet, Amazon. They've all invested in Anthropic. So this is the nature of the investment. This is the nature of the investment that FTC is kind of trying to look into the monopoly. And I would say this is the fastest response that we've gotten from the FTC in a long while, right? Before they take like a lenient view and let this industry play out. I've seen that for a lot of industry, but this time they're like taking like a very stringent view. So James, do you want to like demystify or do a deep dive into that aspect, please?
So the FTC is basically in charge of stopping big companies to be bigger companies and eventually monopolies. Their job is to encourage competition and to promote competition and a free market economy across every sector. And they are starting to see that, like I said in the opening, that they are starting to see that artificial intelligence is going to be as big or even bigger than the internet. And it's going to be in the hands of these four companies, these four companies, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, and eventually probably Apple. And they don't want a monopoly tomorrow. They don't want a situation where there won't be competition in the AI space. Because no competition in the AI space mean that these companies would be unbreakable. Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft. And they already have large chunks, especially in Microsoft, in OpenAI. Amazon, Alphabet in itself is an AI company in itself, so 100% of the IP. Then Amazon is actually investing a lot into Anthropic. I think their Anthropic raised about $6 billion within the last 1 year, actually, within 1 year. Obviously, a lot of that money goes into buying computational power and cloud computing, but it's still in form of in exchange of equity into those companies. So this is what the FTC is actually looking at. And this is very concerning for. I think it's very important that the FTC is doing that, because this is very concerning. Imagine a situation where we don't have competition in artificial intelligence. So
Yeah, I see that, but I'm also of the contrarian view that I think this also, if it's not played wisely, it can also dampen the. Because we're beginning to see like a lot of growth in this space, and the growth they don't come easy, they don't come cheap, right? It's literally because of money, right? It's compute that's causing us to see this level of growth, right? Because we have level of growth. Recently Meta also announced that working on Llama 3, and they've bought, they've bought 350,000 watts of 350,000 watts of NVIDIA 800 chips, NVIDIA 800 machines, right, to train 350,000 watts of it, and for NVIDIA 800 machine to train Llama 3, right? So that costs a lot of money. That's like they are bringing together up to 600,000 watts of NVIDIA H100. That's close to 1. That's in billions. I have the exact. I don't want to make a wrong conclusion, but I don't have the exact. But that's in billions, right? Everything comes as a result of as a result of this, right? Everything comes as a result of these ideas, this what we call it, this progress we're seeing, this speed we're seeing comes as a result of money. So if the FCC is not even willing to fund, like it's not like there's a fund or federal government has a fund or US government has a fund to say, or US government is making chips for free and say, oh, you guys take this. So I understand it's just an inquiry and it's at an inquiry stage, but I feel it should stop at an inquiry stage, right? It should just be like a warning or let them know that, they shouldn't make any further deals down the line, right? Because that's my own take.
yeah, if the FTC is having more and more power every day, they've been able to cancel and block a lot of deals. The Adobe Figma deal, and every deal that Meta wanted to or thought of acquiring, they've been able to even block that. And they are also working alongside the European Union and European regulators, especially British regulators, which which kind of like cancel every deal happening in big tech.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, thank you for your view. I think your view is very detailed. So I feel it's a developing story. Let's see how it goes, right? But there are other updates in the AI space. Google. I also mentioned Llama 3, like Meta Llama 3, and Mark Zuckerberg literally came up with a video. I wish we could play the video to say they're committed to open source, right? Making sure Llama 3 is also built on open source. Llama 2 was built on 70 billion parameters. So I'm sure Llama 3 might literally double that parameters. That we're looking at 180 billion or even up to 200 billion parameters. So that means we're literally having a machine, like we're literally having an AI engine that is like available to very smart. He literally said Meta is going for AGI status, they're going for an artificial general intelligence. So let's see what that comes up to. But I think that would be like a good segue to talk about the next thing. We want to talk about Rabbit. Rabbit R1. It was launched during the CES that was just concluded in Las Vegas. Rabbit R1. I think Rabbit is the name of the company, but the name of the product is R1. They did like a very interesting pitch at CES. The pitch literally broke the internet. They sold out their initial units. I'm going to share the story. It's TechCrunch article. They sold out their initial units, I think 10,000 units, and they've sold out three other units after that, like 3 other sets of product after that. So, James, you want to give us like an overview of why do you think people are adopting this? My take, right, which I'm going to come back to later, is that because of the price point, right? This is a product it's like a mobile phone, but I won't say it's a mobile phone, right?
Yeah.
I think it's powerful than a mobile phone. It's just like putting a ChatGPT on something, and they invented a new, let's say, a new term. They call it large action model, LAM, instead of large language model. So large action model, which I think is a play of word, a play around words, right? Large action model. But this rabbit, what can it do? What is I know we've shared extensive review, we've watched extensive review, we've watched like an unhealthy amount of reviews on this small product, right? But it's not even out yet. We don't even know how to test it, but we've hear other people talk about it and what it can do. I've also watched videos from the company. So what do you think?
So Rabbit R1 is a very interesting product. I think Satya Nadella kind of like took a lot of interest in it and praised the presentation of the Rabbit R1 to be like a Steve Jobs moment, iPhone moment, which is very interesting. A lot of people are probably buying it because they are interested. We are still in the AI hype cycle, and the price point is very affordable compared to the other AI smartphone or other AI gadget that came out some months ago, which was Humane. And Humane starting price was actually at $700.
Yeah.
And I think they even have like a 800
subscription.
model.
They have a subscription, like
they also have a subscription.
Yeah.
Which is you're putting that in the iPhone category pricing, for a device that is not capable of doing a lot, just answering phone calls and text messages, only. So why pay that much money when you can actually have a smartphone? So the other thing is this: when it comes to AI smartphones, it could be a new category of mobile smartphones. But the incumbents, the Apple, the Samsung of the world, they will also release their next smartphones to be AI powered. We already saw Samsung S24 Galaxy AI. It's an AI smartphone according to them. So I think this Rabbit R1 could be a passing fad, and we could actually see more interesting product from Apple and Samsung building AI smartphones. They could actually build additional smartphones in sort of like a Rabbit size or form factor model.
Yeah.
But they could also improve their existing smartphones to be AI powered. So I believe Apple is gonna do that. Maybe not immediately because they tend to spend more time on research and development. But Samsung is already on it with the S24 AI. And most of the capabilities of Rabbit R1 could be apps. It doesn't have to be an hardware. This could have been a bunch of apps or one app that could do many things.
Exactly.
So I guess a lot of people will build apps. A lot of people would go the cheaper route, build apps, capture some market. Then the people that will build hardware, but it might not sell 2 billion iPhones, category, type of smartphones.
Yeah.
This is my honest opinion about it.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on, right? It's just that we didn't add the sales data to the presentation for today, right? But maybe on our next episode, if it's still a thing, we might add that. Well, I saw the tweets, like I saw that they've made like 3 sales cycle, like pre-sales, like literally people pre-ordering it, right? So and they're making good numbers. But yeah, I have the same reservation. Although I think my argument for it, I've got argument for it and argument against it, and you've resonated all of the arguments you've mentioned as like my arguments against it. But my argument for it is that I feel the technology is very interesting. Like the fact that if you check the video, like it said, "Oh, do this for me," do this from book an Uber home. So I feel it's going to be very context aware. The technology is going to be context aware in terms of, for example, large language models are like, bringing out different a large number of parameters to pick the most feasible line of thought or the most feasible next line of action or next line of word, right? So this is going to be based on functions. So they're going to literally set functions on keywords. So for example, book, Uber, book and Uber for me. So it use book, that book, use Uber as a function to like execute an action. So I feel like it can, the underlying technology could be something that would be great, right? But it's just literally like for me, it's literally like a HomePod, like a Siri, or like an Amazon yeah, like Amazon Alexa, right? Literally, it's just like an Amazon Alexa. If Alexa is kind of smarter, can be smarter than this, right? Than what it is. So, and I feel all of these guys are working on something, but that's what you just keep saying, right? For example, Apple, you keep saying Apple is working on a feature. Apple's supposed to work on the feature, and they've not worked on the feature for the past 10 years, and they are launching it maybe 10 years later. It's just the same analogy, like when Reddit started, right? And people started building Reddit, because I'm a Reddit super fan, right? And people started building Reddit applications to like view Reddit, because Reddit was very, very poor in terms of the UI design. It was very, very poor, right? People started building mobile clients to like view Reddit, to make Reddit more beautiful, right? Then it took up to like maybe 5, 6, 7 years before Reddit caught up to the train, right? Fine. When Reddit literally eventually built their UI to be more responsive, it's those guys are literally had to pack up. No, in fact, they didn't pack up until Reddit literally said they stopped supporting that, they deprecated their API. So once they deprecated their API, it means that the API is no longer available for those guys to build clients, right? But it caused a ruckus. Like a lot of people started closing down their subreddits. You know, a lot of managers, people managing subreddits, said they're no longer managing, they're no longer interested in managing the subreddit. People started, you know, it became a thing, right? So I feel they are onto something, but it's a very interesting market, right? They definitely need to fight for market share, but the adoption has been great so far. I feel they can, at least compared to Humane, we literally discussed Humane like on 2 episodes ago, right? So I wrote an article on Humane, right? Humane was an interesting tech, but that price point, it priced people out for something that, for an emerging technology, it priced people out. So I feel with this price point, I feel they definitely will be able to build more use cases to it in the coming rollout.
Yeah, you know what is interesting is positioning. Positioning in hardware tech is very important, you know.
Yeah.
The reason why the iPod, you know, the music iPod is no more selling is because everything you can do on an iPod, you can do that on an iPhone or on an Android phone, you know. But in terms of a wristwatch, a smartwatch, it's an important category that you can't necessarily do that on a smartphone. You know, you can take your pulse, you can take your heart rate on an iPhone, but you can do that on a smartwatch. You know, I think positioning is very important if you want to build the next smartphone AI or the next AI powered smartphone. You could do that in form of glasses, you know, the Meta Ray-Ban type of glasses. Or you could come into the watch space, or you could come into the headset space, you know, and make this whole rabbit hole into an headset or the next earbuds, you know. So positioning will be great. If you're building another smartphone form factor, you might not really capture people's attention that much. For a short while you would, but for the long term you might not.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. Right. So I wish them luck, and I feel we'll definitely keep covering this story, because I'd also love to like get my hands on the Rabbit R1. Right. So I think on my next trip to the US, I'm definitely going to grab one, because it's really interesting, and the price point is not that, you know, just $199. That's $200. Right? You can literally just buy it to test. Right. So that's a good one. And I think the use cases are like interesting for me. Like I can use it for basic use cases, for a basic use case, right? So yeah, I think that's a good segue, because this product was literally launched at CES. So I think it's good time to talk about CES. What are the interesting technologies we're looking at, or interesting things that happen at CES? So before I introduce our guest, I just want to talk about CES. It left us with a lot of technology, a lot of on Twitter. Twitter was like a watch. Like I streamed CES for 2 days, and I think the second day I was just like, I watched for like 30 minutes, right? So, but I was, wowed by the level of technology. I'd say 2 years ago, there wasn't CES during COVID, but I've been following CES for a while now, say for 6-7 years now. Not like sometimes some of their products are not that great, but it has to be what it has to be. So I've got a guest is also a friend of the pod, Ibukun. I call him IVK, but it's known as Ibukun. Ibukun is an intelligent automation consultant who works with with emerging technologies like AI, robotics, process automation, and streamlining and optimizing business processes and decision making. It's literally he uses emerging technologies to build better customer experience and accuracy, and also enhance prediction and efficiency. So IBK, based on his what is space, because of what he does in the industry, he attended CES, and I was literally I attended CES through him, right? Because it was very, sharing all of his videos, sharing all of what he was experiencing, and also sharing technology, underlying technology around all of this, and then asking important questions and sharing his questions. So I just told him, "Oh, Harry, my man, why not come on the pod and let's talk about some of this interesting technology and let's see, just come on, let our listeners of the pod, let them enjoy this experience through you." So thank you very much for joining the call today, IBK. I would love to have you around. Thank you. You are okay.
It's my pleasure being here.
Yeah, thank you. And earlier we made a joke and to say James said welcome again, right? That was because this is our second time of recording this episode. This is our second time of recording this episode, right? So now we're having IVK again. So sorry for having to have you again, but I think this time we're going to definitely get it in a perfect condition.
Great.
Yeah. So I would say, I think, let me just give a brief overview of CES for those that don't know CES. So CES is an annual exhibition event where mostly hardware companies, but not all hardware companies, mostly hardware companies, visit CES to share what they've been working on. Mostly we've got a larger percentage of experimentational tech, or let's say showcase. It's more of a showcase than an actual tech, realistic tech, right? But many times we get to see what's coming for the year. So for example, Sony would bring up what they're doing before and then bring it back again. So I just want to ask you, IBK, what do you think? How was the experience at CES? How was the experience for you?
So in one word, I would say CES was exciting. I believe it's always exciting, but for CES 2024, AI took a center stage. So it was quite evident to see products and services that were being enabled by AI. So almost every product or service I saw had an element of AI in it. So quite interesting, and that's the reality of the world we live in. We are the cups of a transformative era where AI is going to be the next big thing.
Good. That's great. So I would say, based on your experience, what are the core? I know we've had this thing before. You've shared some amazing technology with us. I've also checked from your stories, from your post. But what are the core technology that you think took the center stage at CES in terms of what people should expect, right? I will go back to what people should expect, but what are the core technologies that caught your attention during the conference or during the exhibition?
So most of my time at CES, I spent that at the vehicle tech exhibition. So I did see a lot of products within the autonomous or self-driving space. So starting with Zoox, so I understand Zoox would be hitting the market sometime this year, so we can expect to see Zoox, within the market. Now, Zoox is an autonomous robot taxi. It's self-driving, and it's more or less what we can call like a self-driving Uber. So you just order your ride on your phone, and a robot taxi arrives. Now this robot taxi, unlike other self-driving cars that you might be aware of, like Teslas, it doesn't have a steering wheel. It doesn't have a conventional dashboard. So there's no dashboards within Zoox. There's no steering wheel. It's a robot taxi. Another interesting feature or feature of Zoox is symmetrical. So there is no back, there is no front. The back looks exactly like the front looks exactly like the back, and it's bi-directional.
Wow. Wow, that's really good. So when is Zoox supposed to like come online? Like, is it something?
Yes. So I understand mid of this year, Zoox will hit the market, so consumers can start taking rides on Zoox. So probably June, July, thereabouts. We should expect consumers to be able to take rides on Zoox.
Great. That's great. What about other technologies that you think are definitely going to like take a center stage? That's going to like affect the, say, how the, let's say, the economic value, in terms of economic value?
So there were still a lot of concepts that were showcased at CES, and one of those concepts would be a concept that has to do with tire rotations. So there was this vehicle by Hyundai Mobis. It's a vehicle that allows for 90 degrees steering, and what that allows, or what that would enable, it's you would have a car that can crab walk. You could have a car that could rotate 360 degrees. This would be very helpful for places where you have tight spaces. You want to perform parallel parking. Those pain points of tight spaces or not being able to park in one move, you would be able to do that with cars like Hyundai Mobis. I understand also that Mercedes have also introduced this also into the latest G-Wagon series. So for Mercedes lovers, you should also have this on Mercedes.
Wow, that's really good. That's really impressive. That was really impressive. I'm just wondering the engineering that goes towards making this a reality.
So we live in a world where we have to keep innovating. We have to keep building upon previous successes. So
yeah,
although the car was invented many years ago, and it has evolved over time, would only keep evolving till we will only keep evolving, because we're in pursuit of enhancement. We're in pursuit of a better life, or a more convenient life. So we'll keep striving for what would make life more convenient when it comes to driving.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I love it. What about the Hyundai, the pod, the delivery pod? I think that's the most interesting part for me. I really wanted to like touch point on it and understand how it works. Yeah.
So the Hyundai delivery pod you're referring to is called City Pod. So City Pod is it's a future concept from Hyundai that is an autonomous vehicle. Now Hyundai is looking at using this to rationalize the logistics space. So right from first mile delivery up to last mile delivery, they would use this concept, to transform that space. What CityPod is in itself is It's an autonomous vehicle, hydrogen powered,
Wow.
and it can be controlled by a digital twin. Now, a digital twin is a visual representation of of a physical object. So in this case, the city pod, you have a virtual representation of it, and you will be able to you can control the city pod via the digital twin. A key aspect of the city pod is for it to be able to transform the logistic industry. Highlander would be using the city pod alongside common solutions that we have heard of and we've been aware of for a number of years. One is the Boston Dynamics stretch, as well as the Boston Dynamics spot. Now, these two solutions, they would also be, used alongside the city pod, in transforming the logistics space. The stretch would be used, at warehouses. So for sorting of items within warehouse, that will be performed by stretch. And what we can see here is spots. Spots, it's used for automatic sensing. So to give insight on site, the health of a site, the compliance of a site, and also possible hazards. So that would be, the role Spot will be playing, and Stretch, will be the one, a very versatile robotic arm that would be used for warehouse operations.
Wow, that's impressive. So sports and okay.
So you can see Spot there, just showing some of his moves. So it's a good dancer.
Got some moves there. It's got some interesting moves. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for your insight and for the deep dive you just gave. So I also want to ask you generally in terms of AI integration into day-to-day, that's your space in terms of working with emerging technology. How are you seeing this play, right? Outside of CES, you've mentioned how CES was like AI enabled almost all of the product that was showcased. Out of the product showcase at CES, came up with AI, came up with an AI integration of some sort. But in terms of day to day, in terms of businesses, small businesses, and how are you seeing the flow in terms of the adoption and also the potency of the transformation? Is this something that we're looking at in, say, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? For example, a proper analogy or a direct correlation would be internet. When internet penetration started in the early 2000, right? Or not early 2000, because I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Africa. Well, let's say internet penetration started in early 2000, right? Like in terms of global adoption, but it took some 10 years before you could see technology being built on it, before cloud technology came in and made it easier to build all of this. So what are your predictions in terms of, is AI going to take a similar flow or similar timeline to like for adoption and for assimilation into existing technology, or do you think it's going to be more rapid in terms of, because of what we're seeing at CES, because of the effect of what we saw at CES? Yeah.
So I believe the adoption of AI will be rapid, and this would be due to the way AI is being pushed to the market. As a technologist, you would agree that one key piece of any technology is accessibility. So how accessible is your technology to your target market, and that's the key focus for penetrating technologies. Now I'll buttress this with the fact that if you recall, when ChatGPT was rolled out, we understand that ChatGPT had more users onboarded on this platform within a short time period compared to Instagram, compared to Facebook, compared to those social
Compared to
media apps,
threads,
that
compared to
that
threads,
led
threads are literally Facebook threads, yeah, and
yeah,
TikTok.
that led the web 2, era. So
True.
ChatGPT, it's generative AI, but again, it speaks to accessibility. So a lot of people got onboarded on that technology, and AI right now is being embedded into various technologies. It has a wide use case.
Yeah.
So I believe that we're going to have rapid adoption for AI, in the coming years.
Yeah. Thank you very much, IBK. Thank you very much, Ibukun. Yes. I keep saying IBK Ibukun. Well, thank you very much. I think you've been able to like break it down, and also I agree with your prediction, and I'm happy that even though I don't like work fully in that space, like our predictions are aligned in terms of how the adoption of AI and how it's seamlessly integrated into traditional existing technology use cases that we have today. So I think that's it. We've come to the end of the pod. Thank you everyone for listening in. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Business Bubble Podcast. So our next episode coming up next month. Definitely, we're going to be bringing another speaker. We're talking about something more transformational, right? And it's something that we feel strongly about that's going to like transform 2024. So I'll say be on the lookout. If you are not following, please follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, like our videos. You can share your comments. We've also got our website coming up very soon. We're announcing it very soon. We've also got we're on Apple Podcast, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts. You can also give us 5 stars if you like what we're saying. Just like encourage us, give us 5 stars on Spotify, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. If you have any question regarding the episode, you can always reach out to me or James on Twitter or LinkedIn. We're very happy to take your questions. And if you also want us to talk about a technology, you want us to do a deep dive on something, just give us feedback via LinkedIn or give us a feedback via Twitter. We're happy to like take your feedback. So thank you very much for listening to this episode, and catch you next time.